big thanks from Nyemiah Supreme coming through to the interview. Definitely appreciate it. Want to get started. What was your introduction to hip hop?
My introduction to hip hop was, I would say, a kid riding on the bus to school, listening to like Dipset and G-Unit mixtapes, and just something about it just, captivated me. Like, yo, I love this so much. Like, I think it's so ill how they're able to put the words together and it all makes sense. So that was the first thing that really caught me. Like, when I'm reciting the lyrics myself, like I'm G-Unit or something like that.
I had a chance to do an interview with Slowbucks not so long ago, and they really put me on to you. How did you get introduced to Slowbucks, and what advice did it give you, and how did it help your career out?
In high school also, I went to school with Bucks, Benjamin Cardozo High School in Queens, and me and Bucks have always been cool, and then from being from Queens, I met Slow, and so before it was even Slowbucks, I just knew them. I used to see them around in the summer at barbecues, and Juelz actually was looking for an assistant, and they both were part of the people who referred me to get the job. So, I went over there, got the job, but I always remained close with them. In terms of the music, they always just tell me to do me. They always gave me space to just create whatever I wanted to do whenever we were in the studio, and they gave me the connection with Jim, Juelz, that whole outside hip hop that I wasn't exposed to yet. So they always tell me to just do me.
As you were just saying a second ago, you had a chance to be featured on some big records with Jim Jones and so forth. What did you take away from that experience, and how did it help your career?
I took that anything that I want, I can have, honestly, because I've always wanted to be a performer, be on camera, be on stage, and rap. And I was a big fan of the Dipset movement coming up. So just to be able to work with somebody that was part of that just gave me that thought in my head, like, I really can do, whatever I put my mind to, whatever I say I want to do, I can get in that field and, take it over. So that let me know instantly that I really want to take my being an artist as a female solo, real serious.
It's a new era in hip hop, a lot of new acts, a lot of new sounds coming out. What does Nyemiah Supreme contribute to this era of music?
I think I contribute. I'm a lyricist. I just love to write and make sense of my lyrics, but I'm also a performer, so I love to put on a show. It's not just gonna be me rapping your era. If you're gonna see some dancing, some bouncing around, some joking around, I try to bring a whole show, a whole performance to it, not just talking to you, but also showing you what I could do.
What artists influence you in hip hop to this day?
I was influenced by Salt and Pepper, TLC, that live female, rapping to you, women power, and still dancing and giving you a show. I was influenced lyrically by Lloyd Banks. I love the way he put his words together. Juelz Santana, Cameron, Jay-Z, that real New York. I was influenced a lot by New York artists, being a New York artist myself.
Your bad mixtape featured a little bit of everything. You had party records, you talked about relationships, and even yourself. Mm-hmm. How does your next project gonna differ from the bad mixtape?
My next project will be a little more, I would say, hyper. It's called Wow, so look out for that. It's gonna just be more energetic, more live, just giving you another part of me. I'm a really fun, outgoing person, so I'm gonna let that live through my music this time around, and put on a big wild show for you. It'll be entertaining.
How do you plan to stay ahead of all the competition? Because now it's so easy to get into hip hop. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say it's oversaturated, but sometimes it feels like that because everybody's a rapper, everybody's a producer, everybody's doing something because you don't have to go through any doors now. Mm-hmm. So being a newcomer, how do you plan to stay ahead of that?
The same way I've gotten into the industry, I'm not really backed by, I don't have a record label, I'm an independent artist, I've just been pushing myself. So the same way that I've been grinding and pushing and just sticking to who I am is the way that I got in and got ahead. So I'm going to keep doing that,
Being an independent artist, like you said, and you're not being backed by anybody, what is the hardest part in that process, seeing that you're not kind of backed by anybody?
Sometimes it feels limiting just in outlets. When you're backed by somebody, you have more outlets to put your videos, your freestyles, your music out through. And, it can be limiting, but just by word of mouth, I've been getting support. But it's kind of hard to have all the resources that, the other artists have, the things that make them grow.